short. They don't judge someone based on someone else's opinion because they realize that sometimes there are political drivers, process issues, and it's not always just the people that are wrong, right? It could be any one of them. They take the people out, and I really love this comment. They said when a problem happens, they don't say blame game. It's John, it's Debbie, it's Mary. They try to depersonalize the problem and say, so what is the root cause? What's the real issue that happened here? And how can we focus on fixing that? Was it a skill issue? Was it a behavior? Was it a process? You know, was it just a misunderstanding? And let's not focus on the people themselves. Don't spin. Transparency. Telling the truth. Saying how things really are. When a company is going through dramatic changes, explaining what the change is about, right? Not spinning, not doing so much of that. And you guys know what I mean by spin, right? The information's coming, but it's not really coming. You know, it's completely different than what's really going on. Nobody's saying you have to tell your team every single thing that the company's about to do, because some of it may happen, may not. We're just saying be somewhat genuine and transparent, because people appreciate transparency, being treated like adults. They are real. Who they are in front of you is who they are with their friends. They don't put on the faces like we talked about. They don't use command and control to dictate what I should do. They trust me and allow me to make the right decisions, but they're also probably tolerant of mistakes. You know, the best example that I use is, can you imagine if the way that we raised our children was to tolerate no mistakes? What would that look like? What would our children be like? If we had zero tolerance for any mistakes? Traumatized, right? Completely disengaged. Zombies. What do you want me to do next, Mom? What do you want me to do next, Mom? I don't want to make a mistake here because I know what's going to happen. When you're coaching people and you're growing teams within an organization, it's kind of similar. You're growing people, right? And hopefully you have the right skills to do that. And sometimes there lies a problem. Ask lots of questions instead of giving lots of direction. This is the key, by the way, is instead of, and then you'll see I've got a slide on this, it's called the ask, don't tell rule. No, it's not the other one that you think of. Ask, don't tell is ask questions, don't tell people what to do, don't direct them. If somebody says, all right, I'm stuck, what do you want me to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? What do you think we should do right now? They say that's the simplest technique that you can use to begin moving from command and control to servant leader. The easiest thing that I could give you, the nuggets, you know, that if you could start tomorrow, is use a lot more questions when people are asking you for an opinion or for advice or for a solution. To say, I know, what do you think? What do you suggest? What are some of the solutions that we have? What are some of the options that you thought of? You know, that sounds reasonable. Why don't you go ahead and give that a try? Let me know if you need more help. Right? That's where empowerment starts. Honestly, she said, I don't ever get the feeling that they are my boss. They feel more like a coach. Notice that difference? A servant leader, people who work for a servant leader don't feel like they report to a boss. They feel like they report to a coach. That they've got somebody there who's coaching and mentoring them. That's the relationship. I don't think they took this job because they were looking for power or position. Even though they have pretty good positions, I feel they got there because they wanted to help and be of value. So notice that's that whole service mentality. That was the driver behind getting there. So, shifting. How do you begin to do this shift? There's some really important questions that you're going to have to ask yourself to come to grips with. First of all, what is your role? Are you there to enable people to act, or do you really believe you are there to direct them? In your heart, what is the role of the leader or a manager, in your opinion? Trust. And I ask this question, and I've got some leaders that are pretty honest with me, and they say, that's my problem, I don't trust my team. And I'll say, do you really trust them? You've got a whole team. I'm not asking you about one person or two. I'm saying, as a team, do you trust this team to deliver what it is that you've got for them? And some people say, actually, I don't. I don't trust them. Well, then there's a problem. We need to talk about that, right? If you're a manager and you've hired all these people, but you don't trust them, is there a problem there? We've got a problem. We need to talk about it. Power. Do you believe that the value that you bring, or that what your boss wants you to do, is to control the behavior of your team? Is that really what you think power is about? Is that the foundation? Is controlling behavior? Because I've found that a lot of people become command and control because their bosses are command and control. They always say, well, the people that I work for want me to control the people underneath me. It's coming top down. It's like a culture, right? So even if I want to empower, they have no tolerance for mistakes, and I'm going to be on the hook. And because I'm going to be on the hook for making any mistakes, just like project managers, right? Don't they normally say you are the neck to wring if the project fails, right? And what I always tell people is if you tell project managers that they are the one wringable neck, if a project goes south, it is their fault, you will absolutely make them command and control. Because you just told them that you are accountable for everything. Anybody who is told that you are accountable for everything has to control everything now, right? You just told them to. That's exactly the message you sent. Oh, growth. Do you know how to grow people? Do you really know how to coach? Do you have it in you? Have you done it before? As a leader, even as a project manager, when you've got team members on a project and you can sense that there's problems, is your first tactic to go tell their boss? Have you sat down before and helped somebody change behavior? Do you feel comfortable doing it? Is it maybe a skill that you need to improve on? Right? Because the normal strategy for us to help other people grow or change their behavior is to go to their boss. Escalate. And trust me, escalation causes so much drama and churn, it's unbelievable. And it causes so much dissatisfaction and lost morale and people not liking each other anymore. I call it so much of the, damage that you can't even see. It's like 2 layers underneath damage. Because you escalated to my boss and I escalated to your boss and now the bosses are fighting it out with each other, we're not able to just fix the problem ourselves and talk. As a project manager, I don't even know how to sit down and coach you or help you. Because you probably don't even trust me enough to do that, right? Here's 3 root causes that I've identified for command and control. And you guys can contribute if you think there's more. One of them is I'm a perfectionist. The reason I command and I control is because I want things done right. That's my motive. I'm not in it for the control side. I'm really not in it because I want to, control all these people. I'm just a perfectionist. I want things done a specific way. And honestly, I don't trust anybody else to do it like I do it because I gave it up before. And guess what I got back? Mistake. Somebody made a mistake, okay? And so if I don't want to have mistakes, I'm going to take the lead on getting everything done myself. How many of you have known somebody or is somebody that thinks that way? Show me your hand and be honest. Okay. Perfectionism. I'm going to raise my hand too, because as I've reflected and tried to grow as a leader, this was one of my faults. I am such a perfectionist when it comes to little minute details that I really feel sorry for the people that reported to me before I kind of transformed and thought about leadership differently. That was my struggle, is I wanted to do things a specific way, and honestly, if you made a mistake, I got really upset. Because I thought it was all about quality and perfectionism, which is a good goal. Is that a bad goal to have? High quality? No. So what do you think then is the problem? If you end up doing everything yourself because you want perfectionism, and you never allow anybody else to make a mistake and learn how to do it right, what's the problem? Lack of motivation from anybody working with you. Do you think you're adding more value to your company or taking away value by being the one person who can do it all? You are taking away value.